Happy Wednesday, 3rd grade. Today we're reading our big book story titled Earth. So open your big book to page 240. You'll see a picture of Earth there. And our essential question is what do we know about Earth and its neighbors? So starting on page 241 at the bottom. Page 242, our home planet. Have you ever seen this planet before? This is Earth. It is home to you and everyone you know. Billions of people live on this planet. Billions more plants and animals live here too. That makes Earth a special planet. As far as we know, no other planet has living beings on it. How does Earth support life when other planets do not? Our planet has everything creatures need to live. It has water. It has air we can breathe. From space, you can see Earth's blue oceans and brown land. How is our planet different from other planets? Well, other planets don't have this space of land and space of water like ours does. You couldn't live on other planets. People enjoy the bright sunshine and warm temperatures on a beach. Earth's water and air make it an ideal place for living things. God designed our planet so that it was in the perfect spot for us to live. If our planet was any closer to the sun, it'd be too hot. If it was a little bit if it was farther from the sun, it would be too cold, and we wouldn't be able to survive. Earth has warmth too. Gases covering the planet hold in heat from the sun, right? That's what we call our atmosphere. Other planets don't have that, so you couldn't have air, you couldn't breathe on those planets. That keeps our planet warm, but not too warm. Some planets are much too cold to support life. Others are much too hot. Earth is just the right temperature to support life. We can study Earth in our own backyard, but scientists have also learned about Earth by studying space. They have learned how other planets are different from ours. Learning more about space helps us understand why our planet is one of a kind. You can see a picture of this telescope. Studying space has allowed us to learn a lot about Earth. Earth and its neighbors. Earth shares its neighborhood in space with many other planets. Earth is part of the solar system. The solar system includes the sun and 8 planets. It also includes rocks called asteroids. Dwarf planets are part of the solar system too. Dwarf planets are smaller than the 8 main planets, like Pluto out here. That's a dwarf planet now. Notice how much smaller it is than these other ones. The sun lies at the center of the solar system. The planets closest to the sun are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. These planets are mostly made of solid rock. Scientists call them the rocky planets. You can see they're much smaller. The sun, you can see kind of how huge it is. That's Earth in relation to the sun. Right? The sun is ginormous. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are called gas giants. They are mostly made of gas. They are the largest planets in the solar system. They are also farthest from the sun. Earth is the largest of the rocky planets. It is the 5th largest planet in the solar system. Earth is nearly 8,000 miles, or 12,800 kilometers, wide. But our planet is much smaller than the gas giants. More than 1,000 Earths could fit inside Jupiter, the biggest planet. Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter are gas planets. They are much larger than the rocky planets. This picture here shows those 8 planets in our solar system. The sun appears on the left, and the dwarf planet Pluto is on the right. This picture shows the size of each planet compared to the others. Okay, so this tiny dot is Mercury. Venus a little bit bigger, Earth a little bit bigger, Mars smaller, Jupiter is huge, that's the biggest one, and Saturn with those rings, Uranus, and Neptune. Earth is the 3rd planet from the sun. The sun is about 93 million miles away from Earth. To travel that far on Earth, you would have to circle the globe 3,733 times. The sun may be very far from Earth, but its rays warm the planet. Deserts like the Sahara get very hot. Earth's orbit around the sun. This diagram shows the paths of the rocky planets around the sun. This would be like if you were looking on top of our solar system and looking down. So you had our sun here, then Mercury, Venus, Earth, and then Mars. Each planet follows its own path around the sun. The path is called an orbit. The orbits are a little bit elliptical. That means they're oval-shaped paths. Earth takes a little more than 365 days to orbit the sun. One trip around the sun equals 1 year. Planets also rotate as they travel. They spin around like a top. Each planet rotates around its axis. An axis is an imaginary line that runs through the center of the planet from top to bottom. Earth's axis is tilted. You can see that here. It's not straight up and down. It's a little bit tilted. So Earth leans to one side as it spins. It rotates all the way around in 24 hours. That's exactly 1 day. Earth's closest neighbor. Everyone knows about Earth's closest neighbor. We see it in the sky almost every night. It is the moon. The moon is much smaller than Earth. It is about 2,160 miles wide. About 50 moons would fit inside Earth. Our moon orbits Earth just as Earth orbits the sun. The moon takes about 27 days to travel around Earth. Like our planet, the moon also rotates, but it rotates much more slowly than the Earth. The moon takes a little more than 27 days to turn all the way around. Since it travels around Earth in the same amount of time, the same side of the moon always faces us. From night to night, the moon seems to change shape. Sometimes we can see the full moon. Other times it looks as if it's been cut in half. The moon's shape seems to change just a little each night. Over about 1 month, it grows into a full moon and then gets smaller and disappears again. The moon seems to grow bigger until half its round shape shows. This is called the moon's first quarter. Then it grows larger until we see the full moon. The full moon shines for a night or two, then it looks smaller bit by bit until we see the last quarter. Finally, the crescent disappears into a new moon. Now, last week, on about Wednesday last week, we had a full moon. So then, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today you should see about a quarter moon if you look into the sky tonight. The moon is closer to Earth than any planets are, but it's still very far away. We see only the parts of the moon that are lit by the sun. As the moon travels around Earth, sunlight hits the moon from different directions. When it hits the side of the moon facing Earth, we see a full moon. If it mostly lights the side facing away from Earth, we see only a sliver. The moon may not seem far away, but it is very far. Our moon is 238,855 miles from Earth. Imagine you could drive from Earth to the moon in a car going 50 miles per hour. It would take nearly 200 days of non-stop driving to get there. The moon's surface has craters of many different sizes. These craters are on the side of the moon that faces away from Earth. Once you reach the moon, what would you see? The moon's surface is mostly gray rocks and dirt. You would see some mountains and many deep valleys. You would also see many craters. Craters are bowl-shaped pits in the surface. Some craters are just a few miles wide. The largest ones are more than 1,000 miles wide. Craters are formed when rocks or ice from space slam into the moon's surface. These objects are called meteorites and comets. This image shows the gray surface of the moon. The dark patches are the areas filled with lava rock. This is the side of the moon that we see from Earth. What else would you notice? There is no life on the moon. The moon has almost no atmosphere, so there is no air to breathe. Without an atmosphere, nothing protects the moon from the sun's heat. Nothing holds in any of the sun's warmth either. So the moon gets very hot and very cold. Sunny parts of the moon get as hot as 253 degrees Fahrenheit. Other places get as cold as negative 387 degrees Fahrenheit. Look up at the night sky. Can you see the moon, our nearest neighbor in space? The sun and the planets are out there too, even if you can't see them now. Look down at the ground. That's Earth, our home planet. We are all part of the solar system. The moon is seen through a thin layer of the Earth's atmosphere. The moon has no atmosphere of its own. Let's look at our questions here. First question, how do you know that Earth is an expository text? Well, it gives information about the Earth and it has headings and pictures. Charts. Why can Earth support life when its neighboring planets cannot? Redefine that. Find the word rocky on page 244. How does the suffix y, which means full of, help you figure out what rocky means? What does rocky mean? Full of? Number 4, write about the main idea in our home planet on page 242 and 243. Why do you think the author chose this main idea? 242 is right here. 243 is right here. So think about the main idea. It's talking about Earth being able to support life. It's talking about it having warmth and temperature. Okay, so that main idea would be that Earth is the only place in our solar system we could live. And then for the second part, why do you think the author chose this main idea? Why do you think you wanted to talk about that in this story? Go ahead and put that in your Wednesday folder when you're done.